Do you remember the childhood game Webkinz? Well, this is it now.
The crap is that thing?
Well, don't worry, because Webkinz Classic is still online and playable, and that's the game of Webkinz you probably remember and love. Now, if you played the game as a kid or still play it every once in a while like me, you probably know of the in-game currency called Kinzcash. You used it to buy food, furniture, clothes, pretty much anything and everything inside of the game. There's a variety of different ways to make Kinzcash, ranging from, of course, the arcade, working jobs, selling items, and even playing in tournaments at Webkinz Stadium. But of all of these different methods, what is the single-handedly greatest, fastest, most efficient way to make tons and tons of Kinzcash? Let's find out. To begin, we'll start where most would go, both in Webkinz and in real life, to make money: the employment office. You can work a job at the employment office every single 8 hours. However, you can do a bonus job if you pay for a deluxe membership. Now, don't worry, this tutorial is all for both free and deluxe players, so I'm not gonna say for this method you have to pay. None of that. Upon completing your first job at the employment office, you'll receive just $100 in Kinzcash. That isn't a lot, given you have to wait 8 hours in between times you can complete these jobs. However, if you continue to level up, aka repeat the same job over and over again and complete it successfully, you can earn up to $350 Kinzcash per job. Meaning, if you absolutely max out and level up every single job and played on the hardest difficulty possible, every single 8 hours, you can get 350 Kinzcash just by completing a job at the employment office. This is definitely something still worth doing to make money. You might as well do it because it's simply there, and usually the jobs are pretty easy to do. But obviously, this is definitely not the best way of making money. Similar to the 8-hour cooldown at the employment office, there's a variety of activities and games that you can simply do once a day, called dailies. These include of the Wheel of WoW, Wishing Well 2, and the Shopping Mall Spree. Make sure you're doing these every single day, because while the initial payout isn't all that great, if you can build up a nice streak of doing them every single day, that payout will increase, and you'll start to make some decent money from just doing some simple and easy tasks. And after you've completed all of your dailies, you might want to consider heading into Adventure Park. You get an additional 10 digs per day just by logging into Adventure Park, and there are tons of characters all around the area that are willing to give you quests for lots of furniture, clothes, but most importantly, Kinzcash. Now, this process definitely does take some time running in between characters to get from one quest location to the other, but a lot of the activities are normally pretty fun. As I kind of just said, most quests have you running around the park completing various tasks, such as picking up one item from one NPC and taking it to another NPC who needs it for a project. You have to take that project piece to another NPC, and that NPC gives you the 80 Kinzcash. Other than that, sometimes the characters just ask you to beat their high score in an arcade game, which usually doesn't take long, but that's a nice breather from just the simple running around of Adventure Park. Now, I can't simply provide a average Kinzcash per minute or a rough estimate of how much you're gonna make by doing these quests, simply because some quests take a lot more time than others. On average, if I just was throwing out numbers with no math calculations, I would roughly say you can probably get around 150 Kinzcash in about 10 minutes by playing Adventure Park and just going through the quests they give you. Next method, we have Webkinz Stadium. Now, some people absolutely rave about this method. At Webkinz Stadium, your pets can compete in a variety of different tournaments, and as you can see, you can get a pretty sizable amount of Kinzcash if you win them. Not only are there scheduled contests every single day, there are also quick events that your pets can play. However, there is a major drawback when it comes to the Webkinz Stadium. Your success in the tournaments is determined by your pet's level in certain areas, such as agility, speed, strength, creativity, and style. All of these things are trained with Miss Cowline at the Kinzville Academy. And I hate to say it, but for this part of the game, Webkinz is extremely pay to win. Just 3 of the classes are free, and all the rest of them you must be a deluxe member to sign up for. Therefore, Webkinz is a capitalistic society in which the rich only get richer. Can you believe that? Anyways, the free classes you can attend are grooming, creativity, and agility. But it gets worse. All of the different competitions at the Webkinz Stadium require at least one other skill from the deluxe paid talent classes to level up to be good at. Now, in case that didn't make any sense, this is the abilities you'll want to level up for a beauty pageant: agility, creativity, and style, all of which somewhat making sense to the theme of a beauty pageant. However, guess what? You can only level up 2 of them if you're a free member at the Kinzville Academy. You can do the paint drop game to level up creativity, and you can jump some hurdles to level up your agility, but you physically cannot sign up for these style classes unless you pay for a deluxe membership. Therefore, your odds of winning these competitions are not very high unless A, you go pay to win, and B, spend days upon weeks and months leveling up your pets at the Kinzville Academy. Now, moving on, I bet you're all wondering when I'm going to talk about it. The main element of the game, I would say, the arcade. The arcade is a mediocre way of making money in 2023. Yes, you can play the games infinitely, and if you're pretty good at a game and willing to play it on repeat for a lot of time, you can definitely make some decent Kinzcash. However, this method in and of itself is just not simply as good as the other methods I'm going to give later in the video. Let me give you some numbers. It took me 4 minutes to make it to the end of the easy level on Polar Plunge. In that time, I just made 49 Kinzcash. Then I played Pizza Palace. In one game that lasted half an hour, I made 187 Kinzcash, which sounds a lot better, doesn't it? That means on Polar Plunge, I made about $12.25 of Kinzcash per minute. But on Pizza Palace, I only made about $6 of Kinzcash per minute. That is less than half the money in way more time. Remember, the Pizza Palace took me about a half an hour to do. The Polar Plunge was simply 4 minutes. Then let's move on to Smoothie Moves. I made $44 of Kinzcash in just 7 minutes of playing, or again, just over $6 a minute. So of these 3 games, the clear and obvious best game to play would be Polar Plunge. So if you want to make decent money off the arcade, it's finding games that you're decent at. In this case, it was me making it to the end of easy mode on Polar Plunge, that you're willing to just play on repeat to make tons of money. Upon going through and playing all of the arcade games for this video, I was unable to find just one arcade game that gave like 25 Kinzcash per minute, obviously. That would be a little unbalanced. So I think it's really just down to what games you enjoy and calculating out which ones pay the most of the few that you enjoy the absolute most. Moving on now, in case you haven't seen all over TikTok or heard from a friend or maybe from a teacher even, one of the greatest ways to accumulate wealth both in real life and in Webkinz is by generating passive income. That's right, baby. Passive income is in Webkinz. The stock market update has just come out. Just kidding. That would be kind of cool though if you could like invest Kinzcash into certain brands at the Kinz Style outlet, like designer brands and stuff, but maybe one day. Anyways, what I wasn't lying about was indeed getting passive income in Webkinz. Crops. Now, not too many people know about crops when I first tell them about this method, but if you go to the W shop and head over to the fun stuff section, you can locate the Seeds tab at the top of the screen and head right over to there. While I was personally buying a ton of the seeds to research for this video, I realized that they were all $50 except for pumpkins and melons being only 45 Kinzcash. All of the other crops sold for about 6 to 8 Kinzcash each. So, being $5 less to buy the seeds, I assumed it would maybe be around 4 or 5 Kinzcash for the pumpkins and melons. However, that was not the case. Surprisingly, pumpkins and melons sell for more than all of the more expensive seeds. That's right, pumpkins and melons sell for $10 each. Now again, these are only the free-to-play seeds. As you can see here, there are a ton of other custom crops you can grow, such as like jack-o'-lanterns and marshmallows and all sorts of weird stuff. But obviously, I am not testing any of those. This is again for free players only. So with this brand new knowledge, I got straight to work. First, I needed to get some of my own Kinzcash to be able to afford all of these seeds. Now, if you're kind of in the same boat habit as me that you need to get a large sum of Kinzcash fast so that you can start to do this method, here is what I recommend. Head over to the Things to Do tab and go to your Kinsville map. This is where you can decorate an entire map of Kinsville, but it's kind of pointless. In reality, when you go to the Things to Do tab, you just simply teleport to already inside of the buildings, so there's no real point of going to the map and then going inside of the buildings. So you can actually sell all of the trees, benches, roads, streetlights, everything that you see except for the buildings for a decent amount of Kinzcash. I was able to make a few thousand Kinzcash just doing this method, which then gave me the funds I needed to buy mass amounts of pumpkins. You might be wondering now, well, how do I grow these seeds? Is it worth it? You know, once it grows, it only sells for 10. That's a lot less than the $45 I bought it for. Well, first off, the seeds grow infinitely. As soon as you harvest a pumpkin or a melon, it is simply replanted at no cost whatsoever and is just going to grow again. The second thing to note is that they grow every single 6 days, not even a full week, 6 days. And of course, you'll want to plant them outside in an area of grass. To purchase a backyard or chunk or plot or piece of land outside, it's going to cost you 1,000 Kinzcash. All of the outdoor plots of land are 10 by 10, meaning there are 10 tiles on the ground that you can place one item, whether that be furniture or a closet or a bed or an oven, anything. In this case, for us, it's seeds. That means for every 1,000 Kinzcash purchase investment of the plot, you can plant 100 seeds of pumpkins and or melons. And all of those sell for $10 Kinzcash, which results in a sum of $1,000 Kinzcash per harvest sale per 6 days. But let's not forget now the initial $45 Kinzcash investment it took to, of course, buy a pack of seeds. So if one seed cost $45 and we buy 100 of them to fill in one plot of land, that's gonna run us $4,500 of Kinzcash. You add on the initial $1,000 to buy the grass plot, your initial investment in setting up a max 10 by 10 pumpkin or melon farm is $5,500 of Kinzcash. But now remember, we get $1,000 of Kinzcash every 6 days, meaning after just 6 harvests to get $6,000 of Kinzcash, we will have completely covered our wares of setting up the farm. And after that, again, the seeds grow infinitely. As long as you have a Webkinz account, they're gonna grow. Oh, and by the way, of course, you can have multiple farms. You're not limited to only one backyard plot of land. You can buy as many of those backyard 10 by 10 plots and fill them in as you want. That means that every 6 days, you could be making more like $5, $10, $50,000 depending on how committed you want to go. Now, obviously, this is your passive income. It takes you 6 days to acquire this money. So what do you do in the meantime? Early in the video, I mentioned all of the instant cash methods and how all of them were pretty mediocre. So now it is officially time to reveal what I feel is the absolute clear winner, best way to make instant money in Webkinz Classic. Ladies and gentlemen, Quizzy's Corner. Here, all non-deluxe members can head over to the trivia zone. Simply select an age range. Obviously, the younger you go, the easier the questions you're gonna get, to the point that I was getting questions like this. I mean, come on now. After you've selected an age range, simply pick a category and start answering questions. If you answer the trivia question within the first couple of seconds before it takes away any of the answers to try to assist you in getting the correct answer in case you didn't know it, you'll make $5 of Kinzcash. Now, I bet you're wondering, Clark, you said earlier you were making hundreds from arcade games. How is this better than that? But did you just look at the question I had on screen? Here's another one. I'll give you another example of a question on screen now. Look at that. You can pretty much grind through these questions extremely quickly. And I mean extremely quickly. Let's just say you answer 10 of these trivia questions in a minute, which again, given the questions, is pretty reasonable. That is $50 of Kinzcash every single minute for answering trivia questions. So there you have it. In my opinion, the absolute best way and / ways to be making money in Webkinz. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. I love you all. Stay healthy and safe. See you in the next one. Peace out.
I'ma go get it, they waiting for blessings. I've been taking L's and I losses, they lessons. Addicted to money, I got an obsession. If trap is a sport, then it'll be my profession.